Hey guys, good morning. We are learning Customs Act 1962. The act which is implemented from 1st February 1963. The act is very important in regards to importation and exportation of goods. If you are a customs broker or importer exporter, you must have the knowledge of the Customs Act 1962. So guys, the Customs Act 1962 is comes under notification number 52 of the year 1962. And before that, there was the Sea Customs Act was in implementation, but the Act Customs Act come into force from the 1st February 1963. So I'm Mangesh Hande creating these videos to you, giving knowledge about the Customs Act 1962 and shooting this video early morning. And I want to give you some knowledge about the Customs Act regarding the imported exported goods. So if you are watching my videos first time, please subscribe to my channel so you will get my new videos instantly when I upload it. So guys, in the previous video we have seen chapter 14 in the same sections 111 to section 121. Chapter 14 is confiscation. Chapter 14 is confiscation of goods and conveyances and imposition of penalties. In the same, section number 111 is confiscation of improperly imported goods, etc. Section 112 is penalty for improper importation of goods. Section 113 is confiscation of goods attempted to be improperly exported. Section 114 is penalty for attempt to export goods improperly, etc. Section 114A, penalty for short levy or non-levy of duty in certain cases. Section 114 the double A, penalty for use of false and incorrect material. Section 114 AB, penalty for obtaining instrument by fraud. Section 114 AC, penalty for fraudulent utilization of input tax credit for claiming a refund. Section 115, confiscation of conveyances. Section 116, penalty for not accounting for goods. Section 117, penalties for contravention, etc., not expressly mentioned. Section 118, confiscation of packages and their contents. Section 119, confiscation of goods used for concealing smuggled goods. Section 120, confiscation of smuggled goods notwithstanding any change in form, etc. Section 121, confiscation of sale proceeds of smuggled goods. Section 122, adjudication of confiscation and penalties. Section 122 onwards, sections we are going to see in this video. Section 122, adjudication and confiscation and penalties. So in the same, in every case under this chapter in which anything is liable to confiscation or any other person is liable to a penalty, such confiscation or penalty may be adjudged. Clause A, without limit by a principal commissioner of customs or commissioner of customs or joint commissioner of customs. Clause B, up to such limit by such officers as the board may by notification specify. Section 123, burden of proof in certain cases. Section 123 is burden of proof in certain cases. Subsection 1, where any goods to which this section applies are seized under this act in the reasonable belief that they are smuggled goods The burden of proving that they are not smuggled goods shall be clause in a case where such seizure is made from the possession of any person. Subclause first on the person from whose possession the goods were seized, and subclause second if any person other than the person from whose possession the goods were seized claims to be the owner thereof also on such other person. Clause B, in any other case, on the person, if any, who claims to be the owner of the goods so seized. Subsection 2. This section shall apply to gold and manufactures thereof, or chase and any other class of goods which the central government may by notification in the official gazette specify. So section 123 burden of proof in certain cases. Section 124 issue of show cause notice before confiscation of goods, etc. No order confiscating any goods or imposing any penalty on any person shall be made under this chapter unless the owner of the goods or such person, clause A, is given a notice in writing with the prior approval of the officer of customs not below the rank of an assistant commissioner of customs, informing him of the grounds on which it is proposed to confiscate the goods or to impose a penalty. Clause B is given an opportunity of making a representation in writing within such reasonable time as may be specified in the notice against the grounds of confiscation or imposition of penalty mentioned therein. And clause C is given a reasonable opportunity of being heard in the matter, provided that notice referred to in clause A and the representation referred to in clause B may, at the request of the person concerned, be oral. Provided further that, notwithstanding issue of notice under this section, the proper officer may issue a supplementary notice under such circumstances and in such manner as may be prescribed. So section 124 is issue of show cause notice before confiscation of goods, etc. Section 125 option to pay fine in lieu of confiscation. Section 125 option to pay fine in lieu of confiscation. Subsection 1. Whenever confiscation of any goods is authorized by this act, the officer adjudging it may, in the case of any goods, the importation or exportation whereof is prohibited under this act or under any other law for the time being in force, and shall, in the case of any other goods, give to the owner of the goods, or where such owner is not known, the person from whose possession or custody such goods have been seized, an option to pay in lieu of confiscation such fine as the said officer thinks fit, provided that where the proceedings are deemed to be concluded under the provisions under to subsection 2 of section 28 or under clause first of subsection 6 of that section in respect of the goods which are not prohibited or restricted, no such fine shall be imposed, provided further that without prejudice to the provisions to subsection 2 of section 115, such fine shall not be exceed the market price of the goods confiscated, less in the case of imported goods the duty chargeable thereon. Subsection 2. Where any fine in lieu of confiscation of goods is imposed under subsection 1, the owner of such goods or the person referred to in subsection 1 shall in addition be liable to duty and charges payable in respect of such goods. Subsection 3. Where the fine imposed under subsection 1 is not paid within a period of 120 days from the date of option given thereunder, such option shall become void unless an appeal against such order is pending. Explanation for removal of doubts. It is hereby declared that in cases where an order under subsection 1 has been passed before the date on which the Finance Bill 2018 received the assent of the President and no appeal is pending against such order, as on that day the option under said subsection may be exercised within a period of 120 days from the date on which the assent is received. Section 125 is option to pay fine in lieu of confiscation. Section 125 is option to pay fine in lieu of confiscation. So very important section. This is in the Customs Act 1962. Section 126 on confiscation property to waste in central government. On confiscation property to waste in central government. Subsection 1. When any goods are confiscated under this act, such goods shall be thereupon waste in the central government. Subsection 2. The officer adjudging confiscation shall take and hold possession of the confiscated goods. So section 126 on confiscation property to waste in central government. Section 127 award of confiscation or penalty by customs officers not to interfere with other punishments. The award of any confiscation or penalty under this act by an officer of customs shall not prevent the infliction of any punishment to which the person affected thereby is liable under the provisions of chapter 16 of the act or under any other law. So the award of any confiscation or penalty under this act by an officer of customs shall not prevent the infliction of any punishment to which the person affected thereby is liable under the provision of chapter 26 of this act, chapter 16 of this act, or under any other law. So section 127 award of confiscation or penalty by customs officer not to interfere with other punishments. So we have seen section 122 to section 127 in this video. Section 122 is adjudication of confiscation and penalties. Section 122A adjudication procedure. Section 124 issue. 123 burden of proof in certain cases. Section 124 issue of show cause notice before confiscation of goods, etc. Section 125 option to pay fine in lieu of confiscation. Section 126 on confiscation property to waste in central government. Section 127 award of confiscation or penalty by customs officers not to interfere with other punishments. Section 111 is so we have seen a chapter 14 here, confiscation of goods and conveyances and imposition of penalties. In the same, we have seen section number 111 to 127. Section 111 is confiscation of improperly imported goods, etc. Section 112 is penalty for improper importation of goods. Section 113 is confiscation of goods attempted to be improperly exported. Section 114 is penalty for attempt to export goods improperly, etc. Section 114A penalty for short levy or non-levy of duty in certain cases. Section 114 AA penalty for use of false and incorrect material. Section 114 AB penalty for obtaining instrument by fraud. Section 114 AC penalty for fraudulent utilization of input tax credit for claiming of refund. Section 115 confiscation of conveyances. Section 116 penalty for not accounting for goods. Section 117 penalties for contravention etc., not expressly mentioned. Section 118 confiscation of packages and their contents. Section 119 confiscation of goods used for concealing smuggled goods. Section 120 confiscation of smuggled goods notwithstanding any change in form, etc. Section 121 confiscation of sale proceeds of smuggled goods. Section 122 adjudication of confiscations and penalties. Section 122A adjudication procedure. Section 123 burden of proof in certain cases. Section 124 issue of show cause notice before confiscation of goods, etc. Section 125 option to pay fine in lieu of confiscation. Section 126 on confiscation property to waste in central government. Section 127 award of confiscation or penalty by customs officer not to interfere with other punishments. So, guys, we have seen these sections in the chapter 14, confiscation of goods and conveyance and imposition of penalties. So, very important section in the Customs Act 1962. So, please listen these videos again and again to improve your knowledge about the Customs Act 1962. If you are listening this video first time, you are not able to understand this language, this act language. So you have to listen these videos again and again to improve your knowledge. If you are a working professional, you can listen these videos while traveling, while in the train, at the time of doing any work in home. So that can help you to improve your knowledge about the Customs Act 1962. So guys, thank you for watching. If you like my video, please subscribe to my channel and share the videos with your friends who needed this knowledge. So guys, meet you again in the next video. Till then, bye bye and take care.